You are not ready for what just happened on the way to the US Open. Nobody saw this coming, not the fans, not the analysts, not even the players themselves a year ago. Serena Williams is stepping back onto a Grand Slam court, and she is not doing it alone. Her partner is Carlos Alcaraz, the defending champion, fresh off a wrist injury that kept him out for 4 months. Two of the biggest names in tennis, from two completely different eras, are now sharing the same side of the net in mixed doubles at Flushing Meadows. A pairing that would have sounded impossible 12 months ago is suddenly the most talked about storyline heading into the tournament. Their opening match is against a qualifier, but the real drama is what could come after. Win that, and they may run straight into fourth seeds Belinda Bencic and Flavio Cobolli, or a wild card team stacked with Taylor Townsend and Alexander Zverev. On the other side of the draw, Aryna Sabalenka and Novak Djokovic are the top seeds, and they open against Leylah Fernandez and Frances Tiafoe. This is no longer a sideshow event tucked quietly before the real tournament begins. It has turned into one of the most watched brackets at this year's Open, and honestly, it might end up stealing attention away from the singles draw itself. Think about it, a legendary champion coming out of retirement to share a court with the generation she helped inspire, while her partner is still proving his wrist injury did not cost him his shot at history. Every point they play together will be replayed and talked about long after the match ends. While the tennis world is losing its mind over this unexpected pairing, life back home in Las Vegas is moving just as fast tonight, and not all of it is good news. Let's start on campus, because UNLV just rolled out something new for students who are done waiting in traffic. It is called the Rebel Route, a pilot program built to give scooters, e-bikes, and skateboards their own dedicated lanes around campus. The idea is simple: keep wheels moving without students dodging pedestrians or cars every few feet. But not everyone is convinced it is working the way it should. Some students say the lane markings are faint, hard to spot, and easy to miss if you are not paying close attention. For a program meant to prevent accidents, visibility might end up being the very thing that causes one. University officials say they are watching how the pilot performs before deciding whether to expand it campus-wide, and they want student feedback so the signage can be fixed before the semester gets busier. Just outside the city, a much more serious situation unfolded tonight. A single-vehicle rollover crash shut down all southbound lanes of I-11 near Railroad Pass Casino Road, forcing a complete stop in traffic heading toward Boulder City. The crash was serious enough that a life flight helicopter was called in to respond, a clear sign of how critical the situation on the ground became. Drivers in the area should expect delays and detours while crews clear the scene, and officials have not yet released details on what caused the vehicle to roll or the condition of anyone involved. If you are heading toward Boulder City tonight, plan for a longer drive and consider an alternate route until the highway fully reopens, because crews are working the scene and there is no clear timeline yet on when southbound lanes will be back open to regular traffic. Back in the neighborhoods, a quieter but just as pressing problem is playing out every single morning. 2 weeks into the new school year, several Clark County schools are still short on crossing guards. That means some kids are crossing busy streets near their schools without the extra set of eyes that is supposed to be standing right there protecting them. Officials say they are actively trying to hire more qualified candidates, but the shortage has already stretched well past the first day of classes, and every day without enough guards is another day parents are left worrying about that walk to the front doors. If you or someone you know might be interested, districts across the valley are actively looking to fill these positions right now, and officials say even a few hours a week near just one intersection could make a real difference for the families who live nearby. Now to a story that has completely upended everyday life for thousands of families. The Hawk fire tore through the region and left entire neighborhoods empty, forcing residents out with little more than what they could grab on their way out the door. Families who spoke about the evacuation described it as feeling like the world was ending around them, watching flames close in while they scrambled to gather pets, important documents, and anything else they could not bear to lose. Now that the immediate danger has passed for many, the harder part begins, figuring out how to manage work, school, and daily routines while displaced from the homes they know. Some are staying with relatives, others are in temporary shelters, and all of them are waiting for the moment they can finally go back and see what, if anything, is left standing. Neighbors who barely knew each other before the fire are now checking in on one another daily, sharing supplies and information. Because right now that kind of community is the only thing making the waiting feel a little less unbearable. In the courtroom, a case that dragged on for what felt like forever has finally reached its conclusion. A Las Vegas businessman has been convicted in a $24 million investor fraud scheme that reached far beyond the city limits. A jury determined that he defrauded investors from across the country, promising returns that were never real and building a scheme that eventually collapsed under its own weight. For the people who lost their savings trusting this man with their money, today's verdict offers a form of justice, even if it does not undo the financial damage already done. Sentencing details are expected to follow in the coming weeks, and prosecutors say this case should serve as a warning to anyone considering similar schemes in the future, especially as more people turn to unfamiliar investment opportunities without checking who is really on the other end of the deal. And finally, closer to home in Henderson, fire crews were called out to a house fire near Boulder Highway and Sunset Road tonight. Crews responded quickly to the scene, working to contain the flames before they could spread to neighboring homes in the area. Details on injuries and the cause of the fire are still coming in, and we will continue to follow this story closely as more information becomes available from Henderson fire officials throughout the evening. So that is where things stand tonight: a tennis draw nobody predicted, a campus experiment still finding its footing, a dangerous crash closing down a major highway, a school safety gap that has not gone away, a fire that upended thousands of lives, a fraud case finally closed, and a fire crew racing into action right now in Henderson. Stay with us as we keep following each of these stories, because the moment there is an update, you will be the first to know.